Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen from Player Attack. We are at E3 2012 and I'm standing here with Robert Bowling from Robotoki. He may be a familiar face to some of you. You may recognise him from his work with Call of Duty, but you are now free from that and branching out on your own.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about what is involved in this newfound freedom.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of, you taking control of your own destiny. Yeah, we've set up a new shop called Robotoki. It's a new studio here in Los Angeles, California. And at E3, we just announced our first game, Human Element, which is exciting. It's been a super busy 3 months. But, that's what it is. It's just getting out there and, making your own way. And there's stuff that we wanted to do that no one else was doing that, takes a lot of risk. And I wanted to assume that risk on myself.
So, all right, so we'll start with the name.
Yeah.
Where did the name come from?
I can't tell you. It's a well-guarded secret, but I will tell you, it is part acronym, part abbreviation, and part Korean. Is how you can sort of figure it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man of mystery. All right. So we'll start with the other easy question. What does Robotoki do?
Robotoki is an independent development studio, and what we're focused on that's very different from other people, I feel, is really putting our team first and everything else second. We're focused on creating an environment that really encourages, that creative talent, and in every aspect of how we develop games, on how we develop team building, on how we do everything is really focused on making, a place where our creative team can be emotionally and intellectually invested in what they're working on, because that is the only way you're going to make good games. I feel very strongly that as an industry, we have a lot to learn on how we're treating creative talent. And if you solve that equation, if you solve that problem, then you're going to make so much more. Because we make games. It's a creative field. It's not the same as, building a machine. It's not black and white. It requires emotion, it requires passion, and that passion stays alive by being invested in your project. So that's what we're focused on. That's what, the team on Human Element is doing, is like, let's do something that we love. And because what you find in development, especially if you're working on the same project for multiple years at a time, you get burned out. And the reason you get burned out is because you're creating two lists in your mind. You're creating the list of experiences and characters and stories that you're excited about and you want to tell that fit within the universe you're working on, and then characters and experience and stuff that just doesn't fit in that universe. And eventually, over time, one list gets smaller and one list gets bigger. And once one list is depleted, you have to leave. It doesn't matter how much money you're making or how much fame comes with it. You have to move on and follow that other creative list. And what we like to do at Robotoki is really have a design philosophy and mentality that let you have that one thing. If you come up with a cool mechanic or universe or a story that you want to explore, let's explore it. Let's take that game jam thing. Let's dedicate 2 weeks to people breaking off from the feature list or priority list of Human Element and really just explore that, because nuggets of that, pieces of that might come back into your core project, but if they don't, that's okay. It might lay the foundation for something new you could do, maybe an indie game, maybe an arcade game, maybe an iOS game. Just really explore that, because even if that takes away time from your main project, it keeps your team fulfilled, it keeps them invested, it keeps them happy, which will make a better project at the end, even if it's a longer project.
So this sounds very similar in some elements to what Tim Schafer is doing at Double Fine with their, you can work on whatever you want as long as it's on these particular days and the rest of the time you're working on our project. And
Right.
Some of those have turned into great games, so it works.
Yeah, Tim Schafer has proven that, the Double Fine is a fantastic team, and they come out with really great games. And not only really great games, but creative games that you don't expect. You can never judge what their next game is going to be based on their previous one. And that's what shows that type of philosophy, if you can pull it off right, is fantastic for your team, for your projects, and for everything involved.
So the first thing that has evolved is Human Element.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
Good transition. Yeah. Human Element is a brand new game that we introduced here at E3, and we're super excited. It's a big, ambitious project, number one, which is why we don't plan to come out with the core console PC, PS console experience until 2015. But there's other ways we want to engage, because this is a very platform agnostic experience. So the core explanation of Human Element is, what is the greatest threat in a zombie apocalypse?
I'm going to say the zombies, but I'm going to guess that's not right.
You would naturally think zombies based on every movie and TV show and every zombie lore we've heard. But in reality, they're slow, they're weak, they're stupid. They'll mobilize themselves long before they get to you. They're not that big of a threat. Their greatest threat is that fear that they instill in us as survivors, that unreasonable fear that leads us to do unreasonable things to survive. So that's what we're examining, because the true threat in an apocalypse is that human element, the guy who's smart enough and able enough to kill you and take what you need. So that's the core objective of human element, is survival. But the key thing is survival means something different to everybody. So, when I was young, I was 21, I had no responsibilities. When I thought of the apocalypse, it was a very action-focused experience. I was fighting zombies, I was fighting survivors. It was that first-person, very, cinematic experience.
Yep.
But, you get older, you have kids, say you have a 2.5-year-old daughter. That experience is very different. You want to avoid confrontation. You want to rebuild some resemblance of society for your family. You want to create alliances. You want to play the more intelligence route. That's what we're focused on with human element. Is I don't want a world just filled with gun-toting soldiers. That's a one-layer world. It's very flat. It's not interesting to me, because people live life and explore life very differently, and we want to create a platform that allows you to do that. Very open world. This is the world we live in. These are the parameters. How would you live in it? And that's why the character creation in human element is so important, because you have 3 major things that you have to worry about. One is, your sex, your gender, and are you male, are you female? The other thing is your difficulty, which is determined by your scenario. Now, do you want to be a solo adult, either male or female, surviving on your own, or a partnered adult, you and another adult, so that's inherently easier, so that's medium, or do you want to be an adult with a young child? Now, all these identities can choose to be any class you want. So either action-focused, intelligence-focused, or stealth-focused. And this will determine how you engage in the scenarios you come across in this world. Everybody will, based on that combination of identity and class, will come across different scenarios at different times. It's not meant to be this linear experience where you're going through a predetermined plot. Your story is determined by how you're surviving in this world, and a lot of it is very open-ended based on what you want to do. Those are my favorite games, that you make a game out of the game, because the platform is there. I don't know how many hours I put into Fallout 3 just collecting outfits that had nothing to do with the end game, had nothing to do with the objectives I was working on. It was just fun. It was there. I thought it'd be interesting to do. I had a bucket full of baseballs for no reason. Just exploring this world that has been put out, because that infinite possibility is what makes video games so exciting.
It all sounds pretty ambitious for a first title for a game, for a studio.
First title for a studio, but from a team that is very experienced and big and ambitious, But we have a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of work, and, the important thing is finding the right partners, finding the right people who want to help us create this vision. And luckily, we announced here at E3, we've had so many people come up to us, so positive, from the business side and from the fans side, who really want to see this happen. So we're excited to just, get to work and make it happen.
Are you able to tell us a little bit more about the team who's working on it, or is that all very hush-hush at the moment?
That is very hush-hush for the moment. We're going to be making a lot of announcements, in the following year after E3. The E3 was our coming out party, and then now we get to solidify everything and really get to work and start, pumping out assets for everything. But, you can keep track of everything at humanelementgame.com. Follow Robotoki on Twitter, follow Oki the Robot, and we'll be good.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.